Hi, I'm Nairy, and welcome to the Inferno guide for dummies. This guide is for dummies, with what I'm about to show you is what the lowest skill floor for the Inferno actually looks like and how you can cheese your way through the waves. This guide is for those of you who can't prayer flick. No, I'm not going to show you that you need to 1-tick flick, 2-tick flick, off-tick flick, because you 100% do not need to. This guide is for those of you who are terrible at prayer management, and this guide is for those of you who have a terrible internet connection. If there are specific questions you want answering, drop them in the comments below. I read every single comment I get, and if there are enough of the same questions coming up, I'll look to create some additional videos. But if the video has helped you, give it a like and subscribe if you're not already a part of the team. The strategy described in this video is built upon 3 simple pillars: speccing for infinite prayer, applying a few cheese mechanics, and being tanky for a new tactic. On screen now you'll see a number of different gear setups for different budgets. The minimum items you will need are crystal armor with a Bowfa if you can't afford a twisted bow, a lightbearer, an eldritch nightmare staff, and a dinhs bulwark. Yes, that is right, a dinhs bulwark. Trust me, you're in for a treat with what I'm about to show you. Because you'll be playing mage in the later waves and harder waves, your priority is to have as high a range defense as possible. So why are we taking a dinhs bulwark? Well, when it's set to block, you take 20% less damage. Couple that with a huge range defensive bonus from it, from your gear, and even a further 16% damage reduction with the justiciar set if you have it, it's safe to say you're pretty tanky. Your inventory setup should look like the ones shown on screen. You may tweak the ratio of brews to restores to your liking, but know this, you must take 2 stamina potions in if you plan on following this strategy. If you don't, you will die at Tzkal-zuk. With the gear you are taking in, you weigh a metric ton, and your run energy will deplete to 0 far earlier than you can kill Tzkal-zuk. Like the original fight caves, the encounter is wave based, generally with an increasing difficulty as you progress through it. The room is set up slightly differently. It is very open space with 3 pillars which are vital for your survival in the Inferno. You are safe from anything on the opposite to the line of the pillar, and it is like this all the way from being right next to it to the maximum distance you can go. But now let's take a look at the monsters you'll face. To make your life 100 times easier, turn on NPC indicators on the RuneLite plugin and insert the following text. This will visually help to determine whether or not an NPC will get trapped behind a pillar, and if not, you can simply move to ensure it does. So firstly, there are Nibblers. These spawn on every single wave at the centre of the room in a central but random pattern, have only 10 health each and are extremely weak to range and magic, and their job is to chip away and damage the pillars until the pillars collapse. Next there are the Bats. These attack rapidly with range, have low health and drain your run energy and stats. They are probably the most annoying monster you'll face in the Inferno, but that's all you need to know about them for now. And then there are the Blobs. These attack from a very long range with mage and range attacks, and when these die they spawn 3 little blobs, 1 ranger, major and 1 melee, each with 20 hit points. Now blobs have a slightly different attacking mechanics compared to normal NPCs. The style which they attack with is opposite to the style which you are praying, so for example if you pray range, shortly after the blob will use a magic attack, the opposing style, and vice versa. If you pray mage, the blob will use a range attack shortly after. What you're aiming to do with these is to essentially show a mage or range pray to the blob to force it to attack with one style, then just before it attacks you, pray accordingly. It is worth noting here that despite running around a pillar, the blob can still hit you for 1 attack if they have essentially seen you before. Meleeers are another type of monster that you'll face. After a short period, if a meleeer does not hit you, it will dig towards your current location and once upright, begin attacking you. As soon as you see the dig animation, their target location is already set. You can simply move around the pillar to trap them. The Rangers are a very basic minion. They attack with range and can attack from long range. That's pretty much it. When you look at these, just think of them as giant saradomin brews, because you'll be going to healing off a lot of these. Mages can be extremely dangerous if not handled correctly. They have a high health pool, can hit up to a 71, can attack from a long range and have the ability to revive previously killed monsters in that wave. The revived minions return only with half health, but cannot be revived again after you kill them for a second time. In an ideal world you would prioritise killing a major before killing any other damage dealing monster so as not to waste supplies. However, there are occasions where the major reviving something can be beneficial, like if you need to blood barrage to regain lost health, or use a special to regenerate prayer points. You know Jads because by watching this guide you will have a fire cape already. It's bigger, it's badder and it hits harder. All of the mechanics for Jads are exactly the same. Each wave has a set spawn, however the location of these outside of the Nibblers, is random. The monsters that spawn on each wave follows a pattern similar to that of in the fight caves. For the specific wave spawns I recommend on checking the wiki or enabling one of the various Inferno helper plugins on RuneLite. At the start of each wave, stand on this tile at the north pillar. The north pillar is your go-to safe area, and of the 3 pillars is the most useful. From here you will cast Ice Barrage from your spellbook onto the Nibblers which spawn at the centre of the room. You must cast Ice Barrage from your spellbook and not from a standard auto cast. This is because there is a delay when auto casting spells as opposed to manually casting them from your spellbook. It is very bad practice to do so, but if you do cast an Ice Barrage with a standard auto cast, you will be dragged out further and you will put yourself in a lot of danger in the later waves. Your auto cast should just be set to Blood Barrage. Immediately after casting Ice Barrage onto the Nibblers, you will then move to this tile. This tile is one of the corner safe spots. This is critical in the later waves, however you should get into the habit of learning to move here as soon as possible in the earlier, easier and safer waves. On occasion you may splash or may misclick and not manage to land the freeze on the Nibblers. This is fine, but you need to strike a balance between committing to kill the Nibblers in the earlier waves where it is safer to do so then you can let them chip away at your pillars later in the waves when it is vital you concentrate on surviving. If they happen to head to the north pillar, once you're confident that the spawns and position of the NPCs is under control, you can then move to this tile here and to attack the Nibblers and not be dragged out. Now let's take a look at the bat safe spots. On the north pillar this is the most common safe spot you will use to attack the bats. The range of the blowpipe exceeds the attack range of the bat, so you can keep protection from range off when here and killing the bats to save prayer. This is how you attack and pray against blobs. You show your magic or range prayer, the blob sees your prayer, and then you switch to the opposing prayer. The blob attacks with the first prayer you just used, and this cycle then repeats. Don't do any of that one tick nonsense, just go in there and get a feel for it, you will learn by doing. Now the trick to managing the melees is one of 2 things. You can either catch a freeze and position to a more preferential spot or deal with the immediate danger you're facing, or you can use the corner safe spots to manage them like this. There are several of them around which you can use to prevent the meleeer from hitting you and any other NPC from hitting you on. And for the meleeers, only these work up to 3 tiles away from the pillar. Every other NPC can attack you diagonally one way or another if you move from the first corner safe spot. If you get a Major and Blob stack or a Ranger and Blob stack, just do this. From the middle tile of the pillar, switch on protection from whatever the Blob is stacked with, Mage for the Major or Range for the Ranger, then click to attack the non-Blob NPC, then run back to the middle tile and click the opposite prayer to prevent the Blob from damaging you. Rinse and repeat until the non-Blob monster is dead. To deal with the Mage and Range stack, or even a Mage, Range and Blob stack. This is the most challenging stack to deal with for most players, and it originally deterred me from attempting the Inferno myself. But is it really challenging? No, not like this it isn't. This is the big brain strat. What you're going to do is to equip your full tank setup, protect from Mage, and either Piety, Rigor or Augury, it really doesn't matter. You're simply going to run from the north pillar directly to the south pillar like this, and avoiding getting a melee hit. Wait for the NPCs to reach the south pillar, then step outwards and move to the western pillar, avoiding getting melee hits again, then move to this corner tile here. This also works, for example, if you have a Major, then a Ranger and Blob stacked side by side, but you should probably just do the normal step out attack once method as we've done before. What you're going to do now is to simply kill the NPC next to you, pray up, stand back and kill it, and once that NPC is dead, if and only if the Major is still alive, run back to the north pillar, and it is vital that you do this, because if the Major is the NPC that is still alive, it has a chance like normal of reviving the Ranger, and if it does and you're at the western pillar, you're done for, as it will hit you from long range and you will need to step out to kill it. So move back to the north pillar, and if it does revive it on the way, no problem, just line of sight it or the Major, whichever you prefer to do at the north pillar. So you've made it all the way to Jad, and what you're going to do is exactly what you've done before in the fight caves. Panic. Tag the healers when they spawn, drag them around to you, being mindful of Jad's attacks, then step through Jad when it's in the middle of an attack, and once its attack is ended, put Pray Melee up to avoid the melee hit, then Pray Range or Mage as normal. Once you're getting close to killing Jad, click log out or switch worlds once to pause the wave after it's dead, because afterwards the triple Jads are coming. Try to conserve your prayer if you're desperately low on supplies, and keep Rigor off if you can help it. Before you go into the Inferno and pre-pot, Eldritch spec the NPCs around you or use an Ancient Mace special attack in your player-owned house to boost your prayer over 99. Eldritch Nightmare spec the Nibblers when you can, as they have the lowest chance of you missing a hit on. Overkill damage still applies and still restores the correct amount of prayer. It will take you several attempts to reach triple Jads and Zuk, but during this time optimise your gear setup for how you play. How much are you really chucking brews? Can you make do without a dinhs bulwark and just go with a regular shield? If so, you've just saved 2 inventory slots. Do you feel like you need a little bit more mage bonus to land those freezes on? Then bring a leg switch. Get a feel for how fast you're running through prayer. If you need more, then bring devout boots. Switch to a trimmed range cape. These setups should form a baseline from which you can build on yourself to suit your own playstyle. Always plan ahead. Once you move to a save tile and everything is nicely positioned, the melees can really mess you up in the later waves if you don't plan ahead. What are you going to do when it digs? Freeze it? Pray against it? Kill it? Run around to somewhere else? There are too many options to consider. Just plan ahead and you'll know what you want to do as soon as you do more and more attempts. There is a link in the description to my Discord channel where I've posted the tile markers shown on screen now. These display all of the tile markers in a simplistic format to highlight what all of the tiles are for. To import this to RuneLite, simply highlight the text, click copy and right click the world map and click import ground markers. There are several other tiles which could be marked, but I wanted to avoid the screen looking like a disco, so only the most important ones are displayed. The most important takeaways that I want you to have is that you need to build a solid foundation before sending full attempts. You should first enter the Inferno and get a feel for every monster up to the Major. You will really save yourself a lot of time by going and first thing having to play around the room to just get used to them. Make sure you're casting Ice Barrage from your spellbook. Make use of the corner safe spots, taking note that only the melee can be safe spotted up to 3 tiles from the pillar. Every other monster will hit you after the first one. And ultimately, take your time. I'll not lie to you and say it's going to be easy. There are many a moment where things can go wrong, and in those moments you want to extend the duration you can stay alive for as long as possible to figure out what to do. In most cases, simply equipping your tank setup and running between the north and south pillars can fix a lot of those problems by the monsters just reorganising and slotting into place. I hope this guide has helped. If it has, give it a like. If you have any questions or suggestions, comment down below, and if you're not already subscribed, join the team. If you're interested in getting a cursed phalanx, check out my Tombs of Amaska 500 cheese strategy guide. I also plan on streaming on Twitch now and then, as well as doing a few giveaways in my Discord, which are all linked below, so check those out. So peace out guys, and I'll see you in the next one.